One of the best starter vocations you can pick and advance in Dragon's Dogma 2 has to be, without a doubt, the Thief. This vocation values speed, agility, and insanely flashy attacks, and puts a good emphasis on fire-based attacks as well. Of course, the Thief being a fast vocation also has some very quick attacks, and the better you are as a Thief, the better the possibilities in combat. So let's just get right into the guide. The Thief is a starter vocation, meaning that you don't need to unlock anything, so we're just going to start right away with the best weapon skills. The Thief has plenty of fantastic weapon skills, and I think it has some great variety with these skills, but there are definitely some that are much better than others, so I'm going to be covering the skills that I felt were the best and provided a well-rounded combat experience. Now, when it comes to weapon skills, you can only have 4 equipped at a time, which isn't a problem because if you choose your skills right, you can really make the most of these 4 in a fantastic way. So the first weapon skill I want to talk about is Biting Wind or Cutting Wind, depending on if you've upgraded this skill or not. Cutting Wind is a great skill at helping you close the gap between you and your enemies, as it allows you to run quickly at an enemy and attack them with the dual daggers you wield as a part of the Thief vocation. This vocation is also good for helping you dash between enemies in order to attack the one you specifically are aiming for. Furthermore, Cutting Wind is vital because as a Thief, you don't have much by means of damage, but your asset is utilizing your speed and agility. The next skill I want to talk about is Helm Splitter, which is probably one of the best skills you can utilize as the Thief. Helm Splitter is a skill that lets you hit multiple strikes in on an enemy by jumping into the air and sort of flipping continuously for a small period of time. You can upgrade the skill as well, and it's a very powerful skill to use because it can deal plenty of damage on those larger enemies, but it can also interrupt flying enemies such as harpies, letting you basically stop them from attacking your party. I definitely recommend having this one equipped at all times because it's a really powerful one to use and it's super useful as the Thief. Up next is Ensnare, which is one that I found not too bad to use. Ensnare allows for you to grab enemies that are far away or in the air, drag them to you, and then you can follow up with Twin Fangs in order to deal a finisher on the enemy. However, this skill is not really useful when it comes to bigger enemies, and obviously it's not very effective on bosses. Pretty much, I would say Ensnare is a good skill to equip relatively early in your playthrough when you don't have much range yet as a Thief. I think you should give it a try regardless though. Another skill that I think is great is Enkindled Blades, which is pretty useful at dealing a lot of damage. This one ignites your daggers with fire for a short period of time, which lets you deal extra damage on enemies that are more susceptible to fire than others. However, this one isn't one that I personally kept equipped all the time, and eventually I did switch it out. I also did use Smokescreen quite a lot, and I found it's a good skill that can distract your enemies and give you an advantage in running from extreme fights and reorienting yourself in the midst. This skill basically sets off smoke, which is vital for the Thief, I would say, because the Thief is more of an offensive class, so sometimes you're going to have to re-enter the fight after recovering, so the smoke screen gives you an opening to do that. For the most part, you can swap out any skills that you want, but the ones I listed are the few that I found were the most effective for an all-rounded gameplay experience as the Thief, and ones that contributed the most to my gameplay experience. Core skills are, as always, passive skills. These are applied without you needing to equip them because the weapon skills are limited to 4 equipped at a time. I'll just list the core skills and explain what they are and what they do. Carve allows you to unleash a flurry of dagger attacks, while Twin Fangs allows you to perform a double strike followed by a powerful, successive strike if the target gets knocked off balance. If you hold down Twin Fangs, you can cling to larger targets or pin down smaller flinching targets. Swift Step makes your movement swift and light and allows you to evade attacks, which is important in the Thief vocation because your defense isn't too high, but your advantage is in speed. Scarlet Kisses lets you unleash a flurry of forward slashes. Controlled Fall is a great one at reducing fall damage by letting you tuck your Arisen's body into a tight roll when hitting the ground. It also lets you recover quickly and get back up into the fight. Bump and Lift lets you rob targets of items when an attack connects. This activates when using Carve, but its success isn't super high. And finally, Footpad lets you kick off a wall, letting you launch a great distance. It doesn't matter how many of these you unlock because all of them apply once you've unlocked them, so go ahead and once you get the chance, unlock them. Augments are an interesting system in Dragon's Dogma 2 because augments are not locked to a specific vocation. So you can use Thief ones only if you want, but you can also combine other augments from other vocations to add onto your Thief build. Realistically though, not all augments are useful for every vocation, and some are better for their respective vocation. But in any case, these are the augments that I found worked the best for the Thief build I was running. Gratification is a great augment to use on the Thief class as it does let you gain back some health when you down an enemy. There's also Verve from the Thief vocation, which improves strength. Vigor is another Thief augment that reduces stamina consumed when clinging to or pinning down foes, which is important because you're going to be doing that often with the Thief vocation. There's also Lethality, Endurance, and Avidity from the Archer vocation. As listed in order, these increase damage dealt with striking a target's vitals, increase max stamina, and let you climb up cliffs, scale foes, and other places faster. There's also Exaltation from the Mage vocation, which helps with stamina recovery speed. When it comes to augments, like I said, you can really pick any combination you want, but these are the ones that I found provided a good boost for the Thief just based on the Thief's strengths and weaknesses. Getting the Maistre skill isn't too hard, but in order to get it early in the game, you need to complete the quest called the Nameless Village. There, you'll find yourself in a remote village away from Vermont where you have to go through a sort of obstacle course, and you'll meet the thieves who train there. In the manor, you can talk to the Thief Maistre, who will give you one skill, and then the other skill is at the end of this obstacle course that you're going to have to go through. Legend's Opus is one of them, and it lets you ignite your daggers and blow fire at your enemy, but it comes at the cost of burning yourself. Formless Feint lets you evade hostile attacks and move super fast, but it does consume stamina while active. So when you use one of these Maistre skills, it will take the place of one of the equipable weapon skills. I actually did use Formless Feint in my Thief build because I thought it was really good, and I felt like it enhanced my build in general. If you unlock it at some point, I would recommend equipping this one, especially because I do think that it's really useful in getting a speed advantage over your enemies. I wasn't a huge fan of Legend's Opus because it's not too bad to get yourself out of a rut with bigger enemies, but you're still dealing damage to yourself, so it wasn't my absolute favorite, and I found that I wasn't really using it much anyway, so I didn't keep it equipped. As always, I recommend in Dragon's Dogma 2 to have a mage in your party. Whether the mage is your main pawn or a hired pawn, you need to have one. Mages don't just provide magic boons to you and give your weapons an enchantment, but they also provide protection, healing, and can boost your stamina back up. With the Thief vocation especially, it can be easy to drain your health, so that's why it's super important to have a mage. The other two members of your party can realistically be any other vocation you want, but I recommend either having an archer or sorcerer to serve as your long-distance attacker because the Thief is very much an up-close and personal vocation. Having a fighter or warrior is also good because they can serve as a tank class that will head-on attack enemies, which gives you an advantage at striking some smaller enemies if you're a bit hesitant on taking down larger stuff, though it shouldn't be a problem either way. In the video, what you're going to be seeing most of the time is me running with my main pawn who's an archer, then I hire two other pawns. One's a warrior and the other is a mage. So really, you can do something like that. This is the party setup that I found worked the best for me, but again, you can change it as you like. I just always recommend to have a mage. The Thief is not really a defense class, so focus your money more on buying better weapons and jewelry that gives extra strength. The Thief can avoid taking damage because of its speed and versatility, but attacking is where you really want to focus because without having high enough damage on your enemies, you're not really going to get far much with the Thief. Some of the best equipment for the Thief is located in the Nameless Village. There's also the Checkpoint Rest Town, Bak Batal, even Vermont has some really good stuff. However, the good equipment can get super expensive very quickly. When you complete the Thief obstacle course, like I mentioned in the Nameless Village, you are going to get a set of daggers, so there are a lot of places that you can get good armors and good weapons for the Thief. But what I recommend with the Thief vocation is stick to weapons first and then worry about your armors pretty much later, because the weapons make the difference when it comes to this vocation in particular. As you can see, I did spend quite a hefty sum on the Heaven's Key daggers, which was like 68,000 coins if I remember. This is probably the best set you're gonna get for the Thief. It's got enchantment, it deals a ton of damage, it's just much more effective, and it makes fighting a lot of these enemies, especially when you get to Batal. That place can be really hard if your level's not high enough or your weapons aren't good enough, so even if it looks like it's a big sum of money, it's probably worth saving up for the weapons first. Then you can do the fashion stuff later, but for the most part, I'm gonna show you like what armor set I used on the screen alongside the weapon, just so that when you go into the game, you can actually find these. Again, you can do really any combination you want, but I do believe Heaven's Key is the best set of daggers for the Thief, so if you can get it as fast as you can for the Thief vocation, especially if you're planning on playing Thief a lot in this game. And with that being said, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed that video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe with notifications set to all so you never miss out on a single upload. Comment below what you think about the Thief vocation, as well as what build you're currently running, if you're running one, or if you're going to try out my build. Don't forget to check out our website for gaming news, entertainment, and more. The link to that, as well as all our other links, are in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll see you all in the next one.